Hey guys, and welcome again to the panel for the 2017 Zone Laser Tag Australasian Championships. As usual, I'll be joined by a special guest or guests. Today we'll be recapping the round robin, and I'm joined by Peter from the Canberra Dragons to help out with that. Thanks for being here, Peter.
No worries, David. Thank you.
The round robin has concluded, and we have an idea of what the top group now looks like, so we're going to go through that very quickly.
So first up, we have Werribee 1-Up and the Adelaide Desolators sitting on 90 points, first and second. We have the reigning champions, the Maroons, sitting on 88, with Apex from Adelaide on 88 with them. In fifth place by themselves, the New Zealand Cobras, and sixth place on equal score with the Dragons, Wolfpack. A further 6 points behind that, the Sharks, Bromigos, and the Hobart Vikings.
We were able to catch a few interviews with some of the players on those teams and the games they had with each other. We'll cut to those now.
All right. Now we have Princess from Code Red.
Yeah.
Princess, it's the first time Code Red have been here representing at the Zone Laser Tag Australasian Championships. Tell me what it's like to be here.
Oh, it's awesome. We've been working so hard for a year to start up leagues at Code Red, get a team ready. We've been training for about 6 months solid with the team to get the first team from ever Code Red. I think it's the first team from Sydney in a while to actually turn up to Nats. So it's good to be representing Sydney. It's good to be representing Code Red with a brand new, fresh team.
Absolutely. It's great to have another New South Wales team on the scene.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit
awesome.
about how the team came together?
Well, me and Justin and Nightmare played for Newcastle last year, and it was a good experience. We learnt what we needed to know to get a team ready and get ready to get a team to come here. So it was good. We've learnt a lot. That first game, we just had some pre-game jitters, first game jitters. So things didn't go too planned, but we've learnt a whole lot from that first game straight off the bat. We know what to do and how to get some points on the board. So it's good.
Absolutely. Better for the run.
Better for the run.
Awesome,
Better
man.
for the run. Get the jitters out and get ready to go.
All right. Awesome, mate. Well, good luck for the rest of the tournament.
Thank
We
you.
hope you guys do really well this year.
So do we.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
This is Azrael from the Desolators, who has just played the first top 10 seeded round robin game. Congrats on winning.
Thanks
Three
very
base game. How was it?
Well, I didn't do a whole lot. I fired 25 shots and didn't reload the whole game, but my entire team was doing exactly what they were supposed to. The whole time they're calling amazing, just fantastic play by them. I did nothing. I just sort of hold them up and let them do all the work. I just chilled base with like the referees and just hang out. So
And it was the first game. Was it a nice, tough first game?
yes, I was very worried because we really didn't get many people coming to our base, so I sort of had to rely on our attackers to really feel the points. I was very worried walking into the game because they are two extremely tough teams and they both have a lot more maze time than us. So I was very worried.
Good luck for the rest of the team, Azrael.
Thank you very much.
All right. We have an old hat. We've got Leper from the Hobart Vikings.
I'm not allowed to wear my hat anymore, though.
Not allowed to wear your hat. We're allowed to wear it forwards, backwards, but not forwards.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. How did that game play out for you guys, mate?
It was a tough one. Felt terrible where we were playing. Lack of points. Happy with the second, though.
Yep.
Bit disappointed didn't get through more bases, but it happens.
Yeah. We've got an old rivalry with these guys. Do you think you guys are going to be competing at the top end again this year?
If we can get our talk back together. First day yesterday, 9 games. First we started off really, really rough. Later in the day we actually got on a roll. Today's been a very, very sleepy day, catching up on everything else. So we're actually done for today, so we actually get to catch up, refresh, come back tomorrow reloaded.
Very nice. We know that it's a marathon, not a sprint in this tournament. It goes for a week and a half, so those rest days really help.
Yeah, they really do get a hand on. I think there's a few guys actually looking at dropping out of triples at this stage just because the days are so long with 33 teams.
Yep. All right. And this guy's great at rub downs too. If you're in a tournament and you need a bit of a muscle correction, come and see Leper.
Yeah, no credit cards, cash only.
All right, mate. Good luck for the rest of the tournament.
Thanks,
man.
mate. You too.
So it does.
No real surprises amongst the top group there, I don't think. Werribee 1-Up have a pretty amazing average score, 4 or 5k clear of anyone else in the competition. I have noticed that teams have all dropped to each other, and you guys are certainly upsetting some of the top groups.
Yeah, picking up a win over the reigning champions and the home site of the Adelaide Desolators was something very, very surprised. And then surprisingly dropping a game to the Northern Territories A team.
Oh, the Darwin Dingoes.
The Darwin Dingoes.
That's the classic rock, paper, scissors. Darwin Dingoes beat Canberra. Canberra Dragons beat Queensland Maroons. It should be noted that Desolators are tied on first place with 90 comp points. However, they did play one game with 4 players where they snagged a second. You would expect they would have won that game with the 5th. Unfortunately, they had one out due to illness, and they probably would be in the first place had it not been for that game.
And they did drop it to their sister team in the Apex. So we can obviously see, as the Cascades draw will be up very soon, that Adelaide Apex and the Desolators will have a game against each other. So we can expect some nice bad blood and revenge there.
Yeah. My team, the Maroons, managed to just miss out on topping the Desolators. We lost by 500 points, down 1 base, made a tactical error, which gave them 2 easy bases at the end of the game. Fantastic loss for my team to have, though. We definitely learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to taking them on in the first game this morning.
And the Maroons are probably the only team there of the top 4 that haven't dropped any games that you would not expect them to. So they haven't dropped really many games from the teams that you would see like from 15th below, which I think is a very, very key thing as well, where teams such as One Up had a surprise loss to the Bromigos. They had a very, very, very close call with Bendigo Blitz, who's currently sitting at about 13th or 14th as well. So
it's an upsetting arena. I can't believe what kind of middle teams are able to shake up this top group. We're seeing the Hobart Vikings struggle against some mid-tier teams, and doing really, really well against top-tier teams. And we've seen it in some of the side events as well. Some really key names falling off the face there, and it's definitely an arena where upsets can happen. I'm hoping that it's where an upset can happen in the finals against a certain home team.
Yep, I definitely think that too.
But we'll just have to see how that goes now that the Cascades will settle in, and we'll see teams of similar level playing each other. That's always something that happens in the round robins. You often find that there'll be 2 stronger teams and a weaker team in some of those games, and the weaker team has a huge say on what happens. Sometimes they'll try and play for the second and can throw it to a team or away from another team, and I'm really looking forward to getting into the Cascades where everyone just wants to win that game.
I really like the way that the maze is also orientated with the fact that there isn't this base is the colour that is always winning.
Yeah.
As we can see through statistics, red and blue do have a few more wins over green, but green is statistically more the second place team, where red and blue will trade that first and third a lot more. So I think that it's a very, very good competitive maze as well.
You guys are certainly performing. Some would say that you're not overperforming, but I think most people would agree that they expected to see you hovering around that 12th to 10th mark. And you guys are certainly ahead of some notable names like the Sharks and the Vikings. How does that feel with 2 new players? You got to be stoked with their performance.
Yeah, so we have 2 players with 1 year's national experience, 1 player playing their first nationals. Our new players are definitely performing extremely well. I suppose when you're having a player like Gustus, who currently is sitting on 2nd in the solos score list for the teams, it definitely helps. He is proved to be having the game of the tournament of his life so far.
Yeah, he's just been unreal. He personally knocked me into the repechage for doubles. He made that his mission, and he absolutely ruined my day.
It's he is. There is a reason why people are calling him a raid boss, and I'm going to continue sticking with that because he is, and as the rest of our team is experiencing, we are just riding that wave of success with him.
Yeah, and so you should. I mean, you guys have pipped some pretty top teams. You guys beat us in the round robin game that you played, and you also knocked over Apex and the Desolators.
Yep, picked up Desolators, picked up the Wolfpack, picked up Bromigos, picked up Vikings, picked up the Apex. when the two notable losses that we had to the top 10 teams was obviously Werribee, where we dropped to them by about 7 or 8K, and obviously the other one being the first game of our round robin groups with the Sharks, who completely thrashed us by 7,500 points.
Well, yeah, the Sharks have been a hot and cold team. I think I've seen them win some really, really hard games. They lost by, like as you said, 7,500 points to you. We beat them by 20K. So that was a huge confidence boost for us. And the Sharks are a bit up and down. I attribute a little bit of that to the system, and I certainly think they'll come home strong. And they'll climb as they familiarise with the gear and all of that. But another team from WA that's sort of exceeding expectations a little bit are the Bromigos. All very, very solid players. No one's going to deny that. No massive superstar. Maybe you've got Ninja over there as a bit of a fringe superstar, but no superstar, all-star caliber player there. And they are exceeding expectations. They're sitting tight on comp points with the Vikings and actually ahead of the Vikings on average score. So that's something pretty interesting, and I'll be watching them. I don't know that they'll hold that position. I think they'll fall back to the 11th or 12th, but I'll be absolutely stoked for them if they can stay up there.
I definitely think there is a certain part of their game that is orientated definitely around Ninja scoring, and especially since he is a South Australian native originally that's moved to WA, who fortunately for you guys you'll be picking up very soon as well. I think that there is a certain aspect where they are really working around Ninja, and they're doing that extremely well. Teams such as Blue Steel, which are not having the best of round robins, but they will definitely pick up in the Cascades, and we can come back to that a bit further. I definitely see teams such as the Bromigos and to some extent the Blue Steel switching positions. So I see Blue Steel breaking back into the top 10, Bromigos probably dropping down just due to the fact of the limitations that there is only so far that strategy can carry you. I mean, we're 7th for that same reason, thanks Gus.
Yeah, when you put all your eggs in one basket and you get a cracked egg, it's things aren't going to work out. And if Ninja continues to score well, then they'll do well, but eventually he's going to be targeted. Players are going to try and shut him down, and when that leg of their team falls, they haven't got a whole lot to back up with that.
The new look Cobras team is very interesting for me as well. So they're currently sitting in 5th, and I think the great part about this team is the story of Four Eyes. This guy has now got a doubles title from last year under his belt. He's been playing with the Cobras, the normal Cobras as we know them back home, and have a look at what 12 months has done for that guy. That guy is having again, like Gustus, the tournament of his life. He is playing so well for them, backed by the fact that he's got Popeyes, Ace, Arcane, and Margie. Literally, this guy is allowed to do whatever he wants, and he has so much raw skill behind him. There is a reason why Cobras are sitting in 5th. I still think they're my dark horse team of making that 3rd position. I still see you guys defending your title in the finals games with the Desolators, and I still think that the Cobras have enough experience on knowing how to get into a finals and knowing how to actually play the golden games as well.
Yeah, Four Eyes is killing it. He's just having a phenomenal tournament. He is a new player on the team, and the team has all the Cobras are fantastic players, and Four Eyes is leading their team in scoring. Yeah, in his first year with them. They've given him the keys to the Ferrari and said, you go out and you earn us, you get us those points and we'll take care of the rest. And he's taken that and he's just run with it.
Well, there was a game of doubles yesterday where he forgot that he had a base in doubles and he still top scored the game.
That he needed a base, yeah. He missed red base, top scored the game with 2 bases in a doubles game.
And he top scored a game of 15 other players, including his teammate, Dark Passion, who has 3 national titles to his name now, he top scored against him, and he's just like, oh, I forgot the base. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that was definitely incredible. I want to talk about the Vikings. Okay, I would say they're underperforming a little bit. The average score is right down, and they are behind a few teams that they certainly shouldn't be behind. At least the Bromigos. Right, that top group is definitely congested, but the Vikings do seem to be struggling a little bit. CV and Spitfire are both top 10 in the solo ladder, so they are taking up a huge portion of their team's score. But what's happening for the rest of them? Are they just not deep enough to contest with the top teams?
I think it's a little bit of that. I did not have Vikings in my top 10. And a lot of people will give me flack about that, and I'm happy for the criticism and for the flack, but I find that there is definitely enough depth there. I just don't think that team is going to be able to function to compete against the top 10 teams. So they have very contrasting styles on how to play. So Spitfire and CV complement each other because they have this smash mouth type brawler player in Spitfire and this natural plays off walls, knows how to duel type player in CV. But then you add players such as Shiny, who's missing his partner in crime in Ling Ling, and they've tried to fill that same spot by Runt. And Runt is kind of the player that does not fill this role correctly. He is going to be a very gifted player. He's still very, very young and very immature in that aspect. And he has very, very big boots to fill. I also think that it is a very big disadvantage that Spitfire lives in Melbourne and is not able to train with this team, as well as the fact that Leper does not have the control of being able to micromanage these people in certain ways because the maze is just this incredibly fast and tight. Whilst his reactionary calls are fine for this, you can only play defensive games so far before you start to get bled out of bases.
And that seems to be what's happening to them in games. They're playing that structured, we're going to lock this down, no one's getting our base, we're going to field point well and take the win. And the problem is the other teams are just going, well, you guys can do that, and we're just going to exchange bases with each other and put you in a really, really uncomfortable position.
Yeah, and they've had 2 games that have finished in between 10 to 20,000 points, where the other 2 teams have been pushing for nearly the 40. Now, obviously, not only does that bring your average score down, but that mentality of you think that you can still defend this base and try and win the game while the other 2 teams are trading bases, that is in theory 15,000 points that you are throwing, and you're not scoring 15,000 points just by yourselves on pack points with the 5 bases that you're also missing.
Exactly. So, yeah. Talking about somewhere further down the ladder, we've got a few teams that are doing quite well. I have personally noticed that the New Zealand Mayhem team are doing particularly well. The Leg is doing a fantastic job captaining that group of guys. A lot of new players and a lot of very inexperienced players. We've got some wags on that team and a sister there, token sisters playing for them.
Yep.
They are currently coming in at 18th, and I think they were predicted to be in that mid-20s, like 25th to 27th.
Yeah, so 25th to 27th is where they were seeded, and they, again, for my list, they are well exceeding expectations. And the sister team to them, Dysfunctional, is doing exactly the same thing. They're only just a few positions above them. I think the New Zealand kind of player base has now gotten to the point where they're going to, in the next 2 or 3 years, become this kind of awesome and hopefully well-manufactured refinery of good players such as Four Eyes and V-Dark that we're missing at this competition, and we can get all these players being pushed through. The other team that is very, very interesting and their first tournament here, Code Red.
Yeah, those guys are killing it. A few of them have played at a Nationals before, but it's their first time coming as a collective unit. They're doing really, really well.
And one other team that picked up a very, very surprising win. So, and again, Mayhem was one of those people as well. Wagga picked up a win over the Bendigo I can't even remember how to say their second
Wacky,
name.
wavy, inflatable tube men.
Thank you, David. And and Mayhem. So Wagga picked up a win over both those teams, and they were seeded to finish in that bottom bracket of teams.
Yeah.
So, and I definitely think that Demon, with his 4 players that have only got about 6 or 7 months worth of experience on actually playing competitive laser tag, they're doing extremely well. So
We're running out of time. That's a wrap from us. We've all got very important games to go away and play now. So we'll be back in touch with you tomorrow. I'll have some new guests. Probably not as handsome as the one that I've got today.
thank you, David.
Hopefully a bit smarter.
Definitely.
Cheers.